everyone. Welcome to Married Lifers. Sorry about the late start. We're waiting for our co host, Alicia, to jump on in a second. We do have Rachel with us. Say hi, Rachel. Oh, no. She might be having mic issues.
Hi.
Hi. How are you doing this evening?
Good. Glad for all you to join.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Alicia should be jumping on any minute. So we'll just touch on based on what we're going to talk about tonight. So tonight we're going to touch on support, the good, the bad, the ugly, the lack thereof, and like people's opinions about support, like what you've seen as far as support goes. I know you talked about doing time. Petunia, what did you feel like your support was back then? Like who did you have as far as support? Hey, Alicia.
You're echoing?
Am I?
Or we are echoing?
Do you hear echo, Alicia?
Mm-mm.
Are you still hearing it, Petunia?
No, I think it sounds better.
Okay. So I just said we're talking today about support, the good, the bad, the ugly, the lack thereof. I was just asking Rachel, like, I know she did time, and how was the support for her while she was in there?
Mm.
Did you have a lot of support, Petunia? I know your mom was always there.
My mother was always there. Weta was. It's like echoing.
Try to log off and log back on.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't hear anything. I know my side's a little loud because of the AC, but
Yeah. I have the AC on too. Can you hear mine?
mm-mm. Mine's just literally right here, though. That's why.
Yeah, mine's literally right here in front of the bed. Like, where the footboard is? Right there.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it's hot in this house.
Yeah. Here where my family lives at, it's crazy hot. It's in the hundreds.
It was hot when I got a visit today. Like, I opened the car and I was like, I had to
Like
roll
the
my
oven, huh?
on. Yeah, and I had to wait a minute before I got in there.
Yeah.
I like had to wait outside to let the AC kick on for a second before I got in there. I tripped out on how hot it was.
Yeah.
So what do you think about support? Like, do you have a positive story about support?
I mean, I've experienced both, you know. For the most part, the ones that are in my circle, they're supportive, you know.
Do you feel like your husband has support from everybody?
I think he definitely has people who love and care for him. More support would be nice. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that to keep it simple.
So we have another special guest today. This is my best friend Victoria. She's more like my sister.
Hello.
I brought her on for this episode with us because outside of you, we did talk about her before. Like, she's my support system that I go to when things are crazy. Like, she's seen me through good relationships, through this relationship, good relationships, bad relationships, like, with family, friends, like everything. I don't mean just like a loving relationship. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How do I add her? Oh, she's on. You're on, Rachel.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. I was like, what? It's not giving me the option to do that. Okay.
Okay, I'm in. You were saying?
Oh, I was just asking you, like, who supported you while you were in there? We were talking about your mom always going there, and then you said Weta.
Yeah, that's the only two actually. When you're locked up, you really don't have no support, you know?
Do you feel like women get less support than men do, based on your experience?
Um, I would say, well, it all depends too. You know what I mean? Like, if you try to like put yourself out there and probably get pen pals or whatever, you know, and reach out in certain ways. I really wasn't into any of that. You know, to me, my mom and Weta being right there was like enough support for me. You know, other than, you know, the saludas from the family and friends or whatever, you know what I mean? A couple of friends did go visit me while I was doing my stretch, but you know, that's kind of like a one-time visit and pretty much that was it. You know what I mean? People are busy with their lives and you know, I kind of the way I did my time was I set apart the outside from the inside and I just did me, you know?
Yeah.
But like I said, Weta was there for me, my mom was there for me, and that was all I needed as far as my support team.
So, um, as far as your nephew, how do you think his family has supported him?
Um Honestly, like he hasn't had any support, you know, from the time that he had went down, like I was in the system at the time, you know what I mean? And so my brother had passed away, so there wasn't, you know, nobody was there. You know, I don't, as far as like our side of the family, but even when I got out and I was getting reestablished and stuff, and it wasn't until like maybe '04 that I reached out, and that was because our grandmother had passed away. So from that point, you know, we were hitting it pretty heavy for a minute and then kind of got lost in the tracks and, you know, for a couple years and I don't even know how long, but then just got back in touch. It's just been like a off and on thing, but not like a full support system, I would say.
Okay. Yeah,
Probably just because of the struggles out here as well, but you know, I know there's other family members other than myself that he has that can reach out. There has been a couple, you know, that have reached out to him and that's been a blessing, you know, as far as providing him with books or whatever they could do on their end, you know what I mean? So that I know that's been a huge blessing for him, you know, as far as those family members being there. But any other family members, I can't really speak for them. But I know, like, as far as his mother, to my knowledge, he's never really had a mother, you know?
yep. So I was going to say that, like, I asked him, when's the last time family outside of myself and his daughter has seen him? And it was since '04.
Honestly, I haven't seen him physically since my brother's funeral.
Yeah. So I was just
And
asking that because I was like, I know the whole story with his mom. Hi, babe.
I haven't seen him since my brother's funeral, and we were both incarcerated at that time.
Yeah, we're talking to Petunia. So we were talking about support, and I was just asking her, like, what does she think as far as the support has been for you from your family? You know what I mean? And we were just talking about Donna, and I was telling her that you hadn't seen anybody from your family outside of myself and our daughter since '04, right? Or the beginning of '05. When did Donna go to New Mexico?
What?
When did Donna go to New Mexico?
Oh yeah, that was in that was July 1st, 2006.
2006.
Yeah, July
Okay.
1st, 2006. She brought Gerard to see me for his birthday.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
he's
'cause
right up the state.
Yeah, so I think he meant who was the last one to see you in 04? Was that your sister?
And what?
In 04, was that your sister when before you left Arizona?
Yeah, that was Yvette.
Okay. So I misspoke. 06. So I was thinking of the story he was telling me about Yvette. That was the last time you seen his sister was in 04. Any of his siblings, right? Because then you seen Donna in 06. So how do you feel about the support that you've had over the years?
You said what?
How do you feel about the support that you have had over the years?
What do you mean? Like, how do I feel?
Did you have support? Did you have outside support? Like, could you have had more support? How did you feel?
Like, but I mean, what are you guys talking about? Like, what is your perception of support? I'm trying to understand so I can understand what we're talking about because I might have a different take on whatever you're talking about as opposed to whatever somebody else is thinking. So I just want to make sure that we're on the same page of what somebody considers support.
So I mean, like family support, writing to you, reaching out to you, you talking to them seeing you.
So just contact, communication.
Yeah.
I mean, I only have communication with certain people, so I mean, so I don't really know how to put that other than just whoever's I'm in contact with that at a time. You know what I mean? Because communication is different from support. I mean, not that. Let me take that back. It's a part of support, but it's just communication in itself is something different. You know what I mean? I take it as because we have contact with different people during different times. You know what I mean? Them supporting you, I take that in a different context. Just you know what I mean? Like just it comes in different forms. But as for communication, I guess it depends over the years. At what junction of my life, you know what I mean? That I was in contact with somebody because I could have contact with somebody constantly, for a certain amount of time, and then it stopped, and then I'm in contact with a different person at a different time. You know what I mean? So I guess it depends on who and what we're talking about.
Okay. So I get that part. Like, what is support to you? Like, what do you define it as being there? Like, how would you define support for you?
It's different things, like, you know what I mean? Communication is one, keeping me in tune to what's going on out there, or the things that I'm missing, or the things that I'm unable to directly have knowledge about, or contact with. Like when they send me books, that's support because you need something for the brain and stuff like that, you know what I mean? There's financial support, there's just just being there for each other. Let's say I guess visits could be another form of support, but also like when I'm dealing with issues, like when we're dealing with issues in the joint, you know what I mean, to help calm and fight against these people, support, you know what I mean, bring awareness to a lot of the messed up things that go on in here, type support, you know what I mean?
So do you feel like you've had like a consistent, even if it's just communication, like do you feel like you've had consistent support on just communication basis from anybody?
I didn't understand what you just said.
So like just communication, just communicating with you. Over these years that you've done so far, do you feel like you've had consistency from anybody?
Yeah, I have.
Is it like a rare thing, or is it like you have a couple people that are like that, or?
Well, I mean, it depends at what time in my life. Because so I've always had communication. I've always maintained a line to the streets. When I mean that, I mean I've always maintained contact with the outside. You know what I mean? Because I know people that have no contact at all to anybody outside, whether it's family, friends, or whoever, pen pals, or whatever. They don't have no contact. Period. I've always maintained contact to the outside world, in one form or another, whether it was through family, friends, you, just stuff like that. You know what I mean? I've always maintained that. But again, it depends on what part of my life that I've had consistent contact from one particular person, or you know what I mean? Because there's points in my life where it's just, let's say it's just you know what I mean? And then I might have where it's just this person, or I might have where it's multiple at one time, you know what I mean? And maybe a consistent person outside of that that's always in that part, you know what I mean? So it depends, you know what I mean? The different points in my life of who was there and stuff like that. But I've always maintained contact to the outside world. I've been fortunate to have that.
Okay. So do you see it like commonly in there? Because you were talking about, some guys don't have communication at all with anybody, no family, no friends, nothing to the outside world. Is that more common?
Yeah, that's common. There's a lot of people that don't have they don't have family, or some people that do have family. It's a weird dynamic. Like they don't have their family. Okay, it comes in different forms too. So there's some people who have family, but no contact or support with their family. And there's those that I've seen who have family that their family supports them, like, sends them money, stuff like that, but they don't really have a lot of contact with them. It's weird how they can keep communication, you know what I mean? And then there's some who don't have it at all, or there's people who could have contact, and that's another thing that gets me, but they choose not to maintain contact, or maybe they don't know how, or I don't know what their situation is, why they don't call their people or write their people, or what goes on. But there are a lot of people who don't have no people, so you gotta do things on your own without any outside support.
So Rogelio's on, baby, and he said to tell Little Greyhound Hasdeo Rose sends his love. And I think he said hi before, right? Did you see that, Alicia?
Hold on. You said who?
Rogelio.
Okay. What up, LeCon? Hey, Bella, what's up? Get my love.
So I've seen it too, where that's why I ask. Like everybody's different, but like I've seen it where I know your husband, like he has some family support that helps him out with things with you, right? Alicia, we talked about that. Like
That they see him.
Yeah, but then even with you, like for your anniversary stuff, like it was through his
mom. Yeah,
he was able to make your guys' anniversary special for you. And like a lot of guys don't have that. And like I know I've seen one of my husband's really good friends, his mom was always there visiting him, I know she was there like almost every weekend, like we were, seeing her son all the time.
Yeah.
So we were just kind of talking about that, babe. And I misspoke because I said your family hadn't seen you since 2004. I think I got that confused with Yvette seeing you. So as far as your siblings, but I forgot your mom had went to Mexico.
But but visiting me because you come to visit me is one thing. Visiting me because I pay you to come and visit me is a different thing. So it's hard to put those in those contexts. You know what I mean?
So I wasn't going to say that. That's why I just shut it up.
Okay.
I mean, that's
you're a nice person, sorry.
no. I mean that's your right to say that, babe. That's not my place to say that. You know what I mean? I know what it was when she came up there to see you. It wasn't out of the love of her own heart for you. It wasn't my place to say that. You just said it.
Yeah.
Can he hear me?
Yeah.
If I told. So what I was saying on my part, like I said, I can't speak for the others. I know Donna's never really been a mother to you, but as far as like my support system goes for you, like I was explaining to her, you know, I wasn't there at the time we were both incarcerated. The last time I physically seen you was at your dad's funeral. We were both incarcerated. And then once I got out, I got established, and I didn't really reach out until we did have that interrelation contact at that time in 93, but I didn't reach out until like 04 when Nana had passed. And then I was kind of strong on that for a while, and then we just kind of lost connect. And I said, like, since then it's just been like a off and on connect. It really hasn't been like, you know, the family is down for you regardless, you know what I mean? But like as far as a steady support system goes, like, you know, like you said, it's off and on, you know, people are in and out of your life, and they're going to be for a stretch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's on my part too, you know. It's like there's struggles and difficulties out here, but you know, the love is always strong right there with you and I, you know.
Did you get the article, babe?
Like I said, what?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I hear you.
I said, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was cutting you off. I didn't know you were going to start talking.
I didn't say nothing.
Did you get the article you were talking about that you were looking for to talk about support?
Yeah. It says it's from it's like 2015. Some chick named Victoria Long, and I think it's 2,000 organization that it came from. But it says 7 ways to support people in prison, and it says so. What are some ways to support people behind bars if you're not near any existing organizations or grassroots groups? Here are 7 places to start. So this is, it's not necessarily for everybody, but this is what they put on this thing on online. And it says, become a pen pal. It says, yes, I said this before, but it's worth repeating. Reach out to a person in prison and start a correspondence. For many, you may be their lifeline to surviving the isolation and dehumanization that prisons foster. Not sure where to find a pen pal? And then it gives like information that don't do that. And it says number 2, amplify the voices and experiences of people behind bars. Prison walls don't just keep people inside; they also mask abuses and injustices that we hopefully wouldn't stand for in the outside world. Help get these experiences out into the wider world. If you have a blog, Tumblr, Facebook, or any other form of media, ask your new pen pals to write something for it. Ask if you could include some of their words in your own post or set up a blog specifically to highlight their voices and experiences. Number 3, it says send books. For many people behind bars, particularly those in solitary confinement, books are a sanity saver. Books allow people to occupy their minds and temporarily escape their prison cells. You can either donate books to one of the many volunteer groups that send books to people in prison, or if you have someone that you talk to in prison, ask how you can send books directly. Most jails and prisons do not allow individuals to send books directly from their homes, but may allow books from bookstores, publishers, or vendors like Amazon. It says, okay, then number 4, it says, send in news from the outside world. Prisons isolate people, not just from other people, but also from feeling as if they are part of the outside world. For instance, a woman in Florida told me that no one in military confinement unit learned about 9/11 for 3 weeks. Talk about feeling disconnected for the rest of the country. Send in printouts from online news sources or splurge to get person a gift subscription to a magazine. Number 5, it says participate in call-in campaigns. Prison abuses are allowed to flourish because there is a sense that no one is paying attention. When people call in about a particular abuse or condition, the prison has to pay attention and make changes. When CC McDonald was first sent to prison staff refused to give her the amount of hormones she was prescribed. Outside supporters organized a call-in campaign, and within a week, prison staff felt so inconvenienced that they began administering the proper dosage. Without that outside support, prison staff would have continued to believe that they could treat McDonald, a young black trans woman, any way they please. Call-in campaigns have also changed egregious conditions. For example, in November 2013, after family members reported that their loved ones in Chicago's Cook County Jail lacked heat despite the temperatures dipping to 8 degrees, a call-in campaign succeeded in having the heat turned on. All of the above are ways to support people currently behind bars. But what about making sure that more people aren't swept into the net of criminal punishment system? Even if you live in a town without an existing advocacy organizations, you can still make a difference. Number 6, it says keep track of proposed policies and laws in your area. Attend community events or politician forums and speak out against practices that would increase criminalization. A friend told me that he recently attended a local political event. There, residents expressed anonymous at a group of dancers who played music and practiced in a nearby park in the evening. At first, residents were told to call the police, but someone stood up and argued against calling the police. He suggested that the residents talk to the dancers, let them know that the music was disturbing residents, and see if they could practice at an earlier hour, turn down the music, or somehow accommodate people's concerns. His suggestion changed the tenor of meeting, and the residents, instead pushing for police intervention, began to consider ways that they could address these concerns without relying on criminalization. Lastly, it says, raise awareness about the issues. This includes talking to people in person, posting on your social media pages, and putting a...
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Organize a film screening or a book group that brings people together to learn about the vast reach of mass incarceration. But don't forget about war on terror and entrapment. That's what it says. So that's just like, I guess, some ideas from different people about how to support someone in prison, like different things like that.
Yeah, well, we see that a lot, especially with the campaigns, right? Have you seen any of those?
You have 30 seconds remaining.
Campaigns like what?
Work.
So yeah, so like right now, I know in California and in Texas, the heat's crazy, and they're doing campaigns and protesting outside of the prisons to get AC or get the windows open or get something for these men because these men dying of cooking to death basically. I've seen that like recently, like yesterday and today.
Yeah.
So also, did you see the one in, I think it was like Alabama, where the guy, he had been in there for like, I'm going to misspeak, but from what I remember, he was like, went in there healthy. And then all of a sudden, like a couple months later, his family's getting pictures and he's like, all like, if he hasn't ate for those 3 months and like he was dying, there was a big old campaign on it. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
Did you hear about that, Petunia?
No.
Did you? I'll have to find it and send it to you. But it was sad. Like everybody, like even the celebrities were speaking out on it and trying to bring awareness and having everybody call that prison and find out what was going on with him. And I don't know exactly what was going on with him, but it was bad. But nothing gets done until something like he's saying, like starting the campaigns and stuff. You know what I mean? That's a good thing. And like obviously writing them or sending books is good too to keep their mind going or stimulate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do for your husband?
I send him books, articles. We do little things together sometimes. Sometimes we come up with ideas for, things for him to do with the nephews, with his daughter. Yeah, just find different courses he can do, like correspondence courses too.
Oh, that's a good idea. Like me and you were talking about that. I was telling my husband, like, because in Lyman he had classes, he had all day work, and now he's like losing his mind because he's bored all day. So I'm like, like take it upon yourself to teach your friends or the younger guys about our history. You know what I mean? Because he has those books, he has a lot of knowledge on that, and like he's a good teacher. Like he's a good talker.
Yeah.
Didn't you try to start a group too for something, babe?
What's that?
Didn't you try to get a group started, you and Nate?
Yeah, I mean, we're still in the process. We're still trying to do certain things that we're trying to get done. But, well, on the other side, on the cultural side, we're already starting that, teaching some of these youngsters about our history and stuff, because you'd be surprised on a lot of these dudes don't know nothing about themselves, but there's a lot of them that are eager that want to learn some of this stuff, so we'll be schooling them.
So that's your way to support each other inside there, right?
Yeah.
And you were saying your husband does something similar, right, Alicia?
What?
You were saying your husband does something similar with his friends where he's at? We're trying to teach
Yeah,
him.
nothing formal at all, but he definitely tries to, put them on to be more educated about really a lot of topics. But yeah, he tries. I mean, it's like 50-50, Some want to feed their minds, others they get occupied with their own interests,
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. Well, their own interests. Whatever that may be. Might be yeah.
That's annoying.
He does a good job.
What, baby?
I said, I was there when he was doing his thing over there, and he does a good job for his circle of guys over there.
Thank you.
Because where he's at, he's in close custody, and he has to deal with a younger, wild bunch of guys that, you know what I mean, that are all over the place. And he's done a good job, especially when he moved from one unit to the other one, and he was able to get them all in order. You know what I mean? Doing good shit.
That's cool to hear. Makes me proud of my husband.
I was looking at my husband's friend yesterday, and he was like, "Your husband's such a good man." And I was telling him today, I'm like, I love to hear that. Like, I love to hear them say that you're such a good dude and stuff that you do in there in a positive way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like we know the content of our men, right? But to hear it from somebody else is nice.
Want to have somebody else about support? I'll put them on.
Who?
One of them.
If you want, I don't care. You can.
You have them too. But you just have your husband right here. Hold on.
That's all I want is my husband.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Hold on. Hey, this is my boy named. Hey, how you doing?
How are you, Nate?
I'm good. Just
So-
hanging out.
What is your perspective on support?
Well, coming from both ends of the spectrum, or just coming from the female side?
No, I mean like your point of view. Like, do you have
Just
family
support
support?
for me.
Yeah.
Support is someone that cares about how you're feeling, how you're doing. It makes it their business to understand, effort to understand how you're doing. You know how you're feeling, what's going on in your mind, your spirit, your heart. You know, more than anything. But you know, support comes to be in many perspectives. You know, obviously, for us in here, you know, we need it. Sometimes we need financial support. Sometimes we need technical support, things like that. But more than anything, I think support is just being there for somebody when they need you. You know.
Yeah.
I think more than anything is just being there for somebody when they need you. Of course, within your means, you know.
Yeah. I'm checking to see if you're good. I think that's a like 90% of any kind of relationship, whether it's a friend or, someone you're in a romantic relationship with or a parent. Like, it's just showing that you care about somebody, reaching out and making sure that they know that they're not forgotten and that they're still loved.
For sure, just like a good example is your husband, right? He's come from a hardened background, as have I. But because I'm a conscious man these days, and you know, I operate with a good heart. I try to make it a point to let him know that I support him, that I understand what he's going through, that I'm his brother, that even though we met, I got love and respect for him, and I'm here for him if he ever needs to talk about whatever it may be. And that's a difficult thing to find in the joint, because dudes just ain't interested in doing things like that or connecting like that. But for me, I operate differently. I feel his sorrow. I know what it's like to be in a cage for years and years and years and years. You know, so I understand, you know, what he's going through. So I try to be there for him. I think he trips out on that because he never had a bro who cared about him like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Like, all the support my husband could get, I appreciate it. Whatever helps to keep him positive, because I know I do my best. Our daughter does her best, but and his aunt's there for him, but he does lack a lot of family support outside of that. You know, as you know, I'm sure he shared that with you.
I can tell you this much: the support that you guys give him is keeping him above the dirty water, big time. He lights up when he speaks about you. When he gets on his phone, you know, he becomes a gentleman. And for you guys to be able to bring that type of a being out of him to the surface is a powerful being, man. And that comes from support. That comes from the support you guys give him, man. And that's a beautiful thing for him to have something like that. I see that in him. You guys, through your guys' love and support and affection, you have literally changed the chemical balance in this man. I promise you that. I've experienced that myself with people that love me, and I'm able to convey that to you, because when people love you like that, you start to feel them same emotion. You start to love them back, and when you operate that way, it does something to you. It does something different to you. You know, it's not so easy to be a bad guy. It's not so easy to do bad guy things. And support is critical, man. And I think that the more that we give that to each other, we create that circle like that, that energy like that, and we it could go a long way. It
Yeah.
could go a long way with support, you know.
I would agree with that. Because even out here, like, I kind of explained out to you when we talked yesterday on the phone. Like, I have Avalicia and I have Victoria. And, you know, when I'm going through things with my husband or anything, they're always there to support me. So I'm glad he has you to support him through the good and the bad in there.
Yeah, sometimes we lose sight of things, important things in life. And if you don't have somebody in here that cares enough about you to remind you of that, it could become a dark place, a lonely place. And I don't extend myself like this for just anybody. But one thing about your father is what's divine in me recognizes what's divine in him. And because of that, I've been able to connect with him. And, I know he's a good brother. And I feel a sense of responsibility to let him know, hey, bro, even though you in here, you still got a motherfucker that loves you, homie, that respects you, homie. Not because you against you, homie, just because you a good human being, homie. And I got you, homie. I love you. I respect you. And that's how I am with him. Because in here, there's a lot of grown men with evil hearts in here. And it's hard to find somebody to love you, to respect you, to have your best interest at heart. But I'm able to do that because, guys like him and him, me and him are hard to find in a place like this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
And I appreciate that. My husband needs all the positive support he can get. So I appreciate you for that.
okay, thank you for talking to me.
Well, thank you for talking to us. Okay. So, I mean, it's good to hear them talk like that because we can support them all we want, talk to them and stuff, but we don't really know what goes on,
Yeah.
there. And like for them to have each other like that, like that's cool. Hey, love.
What's up, man?
I'm kind of glad you put him on because he explains, you know what I mean? Like your guys' relationship, how you support each other. And I know that that's hard to come by in there. And you've only had like very, very, very few friends that you actually call friend.
Thank you, Rachel.
So conceited.
Hey, I'll take the compliment.
Rachel was just talking about Alicia's job. Am I saying that right?
Hijab, yeah, close enough.
He or
Hijab. So it's like, yeah.
Like with the A or with the E?
It's spelled Hijab.
So kind of like an E, like hijab.
Hijab, yeah.
Okay, because I've been saying hijab.
So it's like hijab,
Hijab? Hijab?
It's called hijab.
like a jab, like
Oh,
jab.
hijab, and I'm saying job.
Jab.
I was saying it all wrong.
I like how you did it.
I'm like,
Girl,
hijab.
Thank you.
Hey, you know what, too? I noticed that for this long time we've been friends for what, like, almost a year, right? It's been a long time. I
Yeah.
keep calling her Avalicia, and everybody calls her Avalicia.
Alicia.
And you've never corrected me. Not once.
It's because I'm so used to it. It's the fact that it's so close. You have no idea the names that I get, so I'll
Well,
take
you
on
know
Alicia. Yeah.
Yeah, because somebody was calling you something funny one day, and I was like, what?
Yeah. So yours is so minor that, like, honestly, my ears don't hear it anymore. It's close enough.
Because I say instead of av, right?
Well, it's Alicia.
Avalicia,
Hold
right?
on. So you've been giving me some incorrect information?
Hey, you've been saying her name right this whole time. Like, listen, if you listen to the other ones, you say it right. I don't. I say Avalicia. It's Avalicia. So now she's just stuck because it's Avalicia, right?
That's what I said. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She shrugs her shoulders.
And I say Avalicia, like AU Avalicia.
You say AVA, Avalicia.
Avalicia.
That's what most people do, and that's fine.
So say it slow for me.
No, I'm just kidding. Avelicia.
Say it again.
Avelicia.
Ave.
Ave.
Alicia.
Go. Victoria's got it.
I still can't.
Ave. Ave Alicia.
Shut up.
But,
It's just, yeah.
my wife says bag anyway, so she says bag instead of bag.
So does she.
Yeah, oh my god, it drives me
She
insane.
says it too.
Oh my
She said the
Lord.
other day. Tell
I
us
got
about
it from my mom.
what were you eating? A thing of what?
Oh, those pretzels. Ooh, they were so good. The Dodge
What
pretzels.
was it in? What was
Yeah.
it in?
A bag.
She
No, I
said-
say bag too. 'Cause my mom does.
Big.
Shut up, babe.
Because it's my dad. He teases us sometimes too. Like, beg for what? What are you begging for?
That's what he always tells me. Beg? Beg? You're begging? No, I'm not begging.
Yeah.
And what's the other one I say wrong, babe?
Tag and tag. And
What's the big one?
even though you frustrate me, I frustrate you.
I appreciate you
Funny
laughing
one,
at
I'm
home.
sorry. Hey, we all got our struggles, okay?
I was telling him, stop making fun of me. It's my accent. I don't know what accent I have, but it's my accent.
Colorado.
My Colorado accent.
Yeah.
I just made my hair long. Whatever, sir. Sorry, I didn't mean to put you and Rachel on the spot about the support.
But with all that, even though your words are a little off, I still support you 100%.
Do you want to get fucked up?
You like that? How to see that? Topic support.
Yeah, you're Avalician. How do you say?
But and then do I say it wrong? Caramel.
Caramel? How do you say it?
Caramel. I know it's caramel, but I say caramel.
It is caramel,
That's what my husband just said.
but I can't say it
caramel.
that way.
I say caramel. It's the same damn shit. See, Gabe?
Yeah.
That'll be a
I
argument
know
for
what
the
it is.
ages.
I just don't. I refuse to say it that way.
Caramel. How do you say it, Rachel?
Carmel.
Caramel.
So she combines it.
I don't know how to say
Like,
beverages though.
One side and Rachel
Yeah.
somewhere in the middle. Oh, no.
I don't know how to say beverages.
What?
There's no L in it.
Bleh.
said
Bleh.
Beverages.
Sorry, we
That's
got
a good one.
teach you because your nephew gives me shit about the way I talk.
Huh. Yeah.
When at any time did they ever say your last name wrong?
Yes.
What did you get?
Oh my God. Like all kind of different shorts and coats and I don't know.
He got
Everything
short.
but.
He's like, there's no W in it.
Right?
Like I get so aggravated. Like that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate when they say my name wrong. Like they get upset. I snap at them because it's like it's a common thing. I always remember when I was in 4th grade and I had this teacher, a teacher who teaches you math, spelling, how to read and write, all these things. And she had the audacity to call me Gerald Schwartz. One, down to my first name. Two, my last name does not have a W, a R, or an A in it.
Gerald. They call him Gerald all the time. He thinks his
60
name.
seconds remaining.
So he asked our daughter the other day, he's like, baby, have they ever said your last name wrong? And she's like, no, they're always messing up my first name. So she never had, they always say Schultz right. But they never say Taya. Like it's always wrong. Shit, that aggravates the shit out of her.
They chose the struggle, and it was her first name.
Yeah.
That's why now that I have an easy last name, at least it's just my first name that gets messed up all the time. Because my maiden name, well, I'm Mexican, so I had both my mom and my dad's last names hyphenated, you know?
So you have like a whole paragraph.
Yeah, literally. Just about.
Are you gonna try to call back, love? Are you going on lockdown?
Love you.
I love you.
No, I figured time.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you. So what do you think about support, Victoria? As far as just being a friend supporting.
I mean, I don't know. Jesus. Like supporting you?
Like anybody in general, like what do you think is the most important part? Like how to support somebody.
I mean, I know that it's hard for you, so I mean, it's. I mean, it's nothing for me to support you. Like you're my best friend. You know, whatever you decide to do is your choice, and I'm going to support you as long as it's not hurting you in any kind of way.
Then we gotta fight.
You just block me on everything.
You see what I do when I get mad? Alicia?
You know how many times she's blocked me over like the dumbest things?
So first of all, I've only blocked her one time in my life. Second of all, go ahead. You can go ahead for a second. I've only blocked her once, and this was this last time because we had a really bad fight.
Mhm.
But she's talking about I delete her from everything. So she pisses me off, and I'll delete her off all social media. And it's like, and when we talk,
Dramatic.
she's like, I'm not adding you back on. You got to send me a friend. But this last time I blocked her ass on the phone numbers and everything. I was so mad, but I was going through my own stuff, so I was just being crazy on top of it.
Well, at least you guys could
What, babe?
recover from that.
Teddy.
Call me Petty Betty.
Naomi,
What?
did you tell him about the poor little old lady that got shooken down? Remember I was telling you?
No, go ahead and tell him.
Visit? So I was at Visit. I think it was like Safford. And we had to pick numbers over there and wait in line for them to call our number. And I had took two numbers, and there was a lady that had two numbers after me, but she was an elderly lady. So I gave her the lowest number that I had in my hand, and I told her, go ahead and, cut in front of me. And she was from out of state. This was the first time probably seeing her son in like 4 years. So she goes in front of me. They call her number. She goes up there, and they pull her to the side. And then next thing you know, they're taking her outside, a bunch of officers, and they go search her car and everything, right? So I get in Visit before she does, and I'm sitting there, and she comes up to me and she says, you little stinker. She says, that's the reason I gave her my number, because I was going to get shooken down. But what are the chances that her last name was the same last name as ours?
So they were going to shake Petunia down. And because she gave that number away, the poor little lady got shook down.
Wow. But
That's
like you
so
said,
sad.
what are the odds, that the name was going to be the same?
That's what she was saying. Like, what are the odds that she had the exact same last name
That's funny.
as them?
Poor thing.
Yeah, I was probably all scared. Like, I didn't do anything. Like, all traumatized.
She's like, I ain't coming to visit no more.
We were talking about that, the Visit shenanigans one last week.
Yeah.
Have you seen any things go down since we've been gone?
No, surprisingly not lately. Well, no.
I was asking Alicia if she's seen anything go down since we've been gone. Because remember, like before you got moved, like every freaking weekend for like 2 months, like every weekend somebody was getting in handcuffs or getting escorted out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was getting kind of hot over there.
Yeah,
They
so
were slipping.
I was asking her if she's seen anything in the visiting, like if there's been any drama for your mama.
No, it's settled down a bit, but I've also been a little more busy, so I think
You haven't been asking
I go like a weekend or two,
Yeah.
and I usually
And
And
like if you go
I
to
went Fridays the past little
Yeah.
bit too.
that's what I was gonna say. If you go on a Friday too, it's different than
Yeah,
on the weekends. It's more like mellow and shit.
yeah.
Is she still having close custody visits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Because I was just gonna ask if she knew or was aware they started the family reunification visits, but I forgot that that's only for medium.
You know what she did tell me though? They opened Unit 3, and it's not a transport station like they were saying. It's for medium.
Oh yeah.
And that's funny because they open it up again for medium, but they can't do no programs. They can't bring nothing back. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Well,
I was gonna say that don't make no sense since they don't have no staff. They don't have
Yeah.
no staff for nothing. How do you got staff for that? Because that takes what is it?
exactly.
1, 2, 3. That's 3 staff in the morning, plus a sergeant and a lieutenant, and then you need a captain for over there. So yeah, make it make sense. Well, but you can have the same captain. I guess you can have the same captain and lieutenant from Unit 4, but you need a sergeant. So that's
But at minimum, you need like 10 to 12.
Yeah, and they're
but
saying
they're on the 12 hours, I guess. I don't know.
well, they were like we don't know now, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't have enough staff to do anything when my husband was there, but now all of a sudden they got enough staff to open up a whole nother unit.
But
Plus,
they still don't got enough staff for yard.
that's what I was just gonna say. From what I understand, there's still no yard. There's still no nothing. Like what?
Yeah.
Like where are your
I
priorities?
did all the plumbing over there in that unit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like that's how you kept yourself busy. Like you even helped them clean that shit up and get it up in.
But as a plumber, I did I retyped a lot of the pipes. I took out a lot of the cast iron pipe and put in PVC pipe in there. And then I did a lot of the plumbing there. And then I had to redo plumbing. They had to call us over there to do it because when they shut down the unit without using it, it's weird. It jacked up all the plumbing. So then they needed extra plumbers, and they were asking us to come over there if I could help them. And then we went and fixed the floors because they were doing their training over there. So when they would shoot their whatever them smoke bombs were, whatever they shoot in the pods, and messed up the floors and stuff. So I had to go strip the floors and wax all the pods because they said that they were going to open it up. But they said it was going to be like a transfer for like what South House 5 is in Territorial where they sent me.
Yeah.
It was going to be like that. So when they send guys to like Sterling, they'll go right there and stay there for a few days and then go up to Sterling and stuff. But I always knew they were going to need the unit because you got so many people in the county jail waiting. So, but it was dumb that they shut it down in the first place if you're going to need it again.
Yeah. But it's dumb to open a whole nother unit when you don't even have staff to do what they're supposed to be getting is simple stuff like yard.
Yeah.
Like you don't have staff for that, but you have staff to open a whole nother freaking unit. Make it
And
make
they were
sense.
talking about by the summertime, by changing unit 1 and 2 into medium and make the full yard medium. I
Yeah.
see, like over here, we get control movement, so every hour they call movement, and we can just shoot about the buildings and go all the way around. But in Lyman, because you have unit 1 and 2 is close custody, it's weird. They don't like us mixing or having contact, so they'll wait till one unit's locked down and then let guys go out and move to where their area is, and then lock them in their area, and then let other guys from the other unit move around. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, they're that's annoying too because they need to figure out what they're doing because they got $1 billion and you guys still don't have nothing. So where's all this money?
That's one thing about support of staff or lack thereof, that could make the difference of how the men live in there,
How they're treated, the things that they're lacking.
If they support them and give them like,
Crazy how they shut.
go ahead.
What?
No, I'm saying it's crazy how they shut all that stuff down.
Yeah, because it could make the difference between, one of the guys making it to a program or not, whether they're liked or not by certain CEOs and things like that.
See, and that was our problem there. So when they started messing with my husband towards the end, I even called and talked to one of the CEOs and was like, like my husband was told he was going to be in this class. He didn't get it the first time. They told him he would get it this time, and now you're telling me no. And she said next time, and it was the thing that pissed me off with that one too is like she talked to me all sweet, like she was so nice, and you know what I mean. And his friends went back telling him because they're like, we heard so and so speaking to your wife, and dude, she doesn't talk to us like that. Like she sounded like she was all nice to your wife, but then she starts screaming at them and stuff, and it's like, have that same energy, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And I kind of laughed because he's told me stuff about that certain person, and I'm like, and then when she talked to me, and then I even seen her at Visit, and it was like uncomfortable. Like she's a little short, SpongeBob square looking, ugly, fucking, just ugly. You know what I mean? And then it's funny because that hall.
She's a little boxy lady. She looks
That's
like
why I
a
said
cartoon
SpongeBob.
horse.
That's SpongeBob, babe, like a square. Serious.
She's boxy.
So in that hall, that hall when you go to the bathroom and you're like by yourself in that hall. So I'm coming back from the bathroom and she's walking through there, and I look at her and I noticed her name tag, and it was her, and she was the one I was just talking to. So I was like, I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to get kicked out of my visit because it was like the beginning of my visit. You know what I mean? But I was like, because she's like, oh, I'll call him and have a meeting with him today and blah, blah, blah. Like, and this, that happened like a few days before our visit. And she still never pulled him to the side and talked to him about what was going on. And I'm like they lie so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just
She's never going to be in the class.
just to try and placate the situation.
And I feel like the warden did that too. Like he would say stuff like, after we sent those emails, trying to address these issues that were going on there. And his reply to us was like, thank you so much for supporting the men here. Down low, you weren't happy that we were supporting our men because that was a constant argument between me and him and me and a couple of the majors there. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't happy because they don't want us outside knowing what's going on in there and what they're doing because they know they're not supposed to be doing half the stuff they're doing to them.
Yeah.
And they're banking on all those men not having family or an outside voice, and they didn't like that my husband did.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
Yeah, they retaliate and stuff, but on our end, we can deal with it. We'll handle the consequences, but in the long run, it helps. It all helps. It'll make a little dent at first, and then another dent, and then it'll cause a crack, and then it gets busted open. You know what I mean? So they don't like to be exposed. So like when they moved me, I believe they moved because they didn't like the complaints. But see, the complaints didn't just go to the warden; they went above the warden's head. So the warden can't sit there and fix what the constant problem is. They're gonna like, look, let's get this problem out the way. Let's move him out of here because he's gonna put us on blast every time, and they don't want to be exposed.
Yeah, and so that didn't make sense. Like, we know it was retaliation for me calling and talking to him because this happened on a Monday, and then they moved him Thursday. And then when I called and talked to his case manager, I had to keep calling and calling and calling because nobody would talk to me. And finally, when I talked to the case manager, he's like reassuring me, "Oh, your husband didn't get no points. There, you know where he's moving. It's better. Like it was reclassification. You know, he has lower points, so we were able to move him to what's supposedly a better yard. What is it? A medium, baby?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was gaslighting me, is what he was doing. You know, oh, it's better. Like he was up for review and blah blah blah, and that's why he was an inmate transfer. You know what I mean? They were swapping inmates, but they did that shit because they were tired of hearing my mouth. And I told the warden, you know what I mean? Like, as much as you guys are tired of hearing me, I'm tired of calling you. I'm tired of you having problems with my husband when he's not doing anything. And I kept telling him that, like, if you look at my husband's record, and that's not trying to threaten anybody or, you know, I'm like letting you see facts. Like, look at his record and what he's been in trouble for. He's not doing nothing here. He's trying to do good, and you guys are fucking with him for no reason. Like, you need to, I'm telling you, you need to stop. Like, you know, there's a reason why my husband's not in the other 3 states. You know what I mean? And he's doing good here. And you guys want to fuck with him over bleach that you checked out to him? It doesn't make any sense. And then they didn't like that he had somebody that supported him and somebody that stood up for him out here. And I knew that what they were talking about. You know what I mean? Because he kept trying to like change the subject and you know, he started talking to me about his grandkids. I don't care about your grandkids, dude. I care about
like, what does that have to do with anything? No offense, but
exactly. But that's like trying to deflect, you know what I mean? Trying to change the conversation so you don't have to deal with the issue at hand.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating. And then to sit there, he still to this day hasn't returned any of my calls. He was at Sterling, then he was at Lyman, and I called both places over and over and over and over and over again. They had a sergeant. What's up, babe?
Love you. I gotta lock down for count.
Okay, I love you.
Love you. Have a good night.
He'll call me back. But yeah, they don't like that. They don't like the support from the outside at all. You know what I mean? And it was like I was causing too much of a ruckus, so they moved him. And then, you know me, because I called you crying, like I was upset because I felt bad. Like my husband had to go through all this bullshit to get moved because I was standing up for him.
Yep.
But, and then that's aggravating in itself too. Like, you know, there's a bunch of different avenues of support when it comes to them. So we just touched on just a few. And then for our support, you know, like she said how she supports me, like, you know, she'll always be there for me even when I'm in the wrong. Like I did, like a couple of years ago, I was making some stupid decisions at that point in my life. And, you know, she sat down and told me, like, this isn't where it's at, you know what I mean? But I was being stubborn at the time, and I'm just like, you know, I don't need to hear all that. I just need you to be here. You know, if things fall apart and things mess up, then you just got to be here to catch me. Like, it's what it is. And I mean, like, that just says a lot about a person, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people aren't like that.
Yeah.
To see you through the good and the bad.
Exactly. I agree.
No, that's so nice.
Are you high?
A little bit.
But yeah, like, support even for us is important. Like, what were you telling me the other day when we were talking about it? Your husband said we can't fill their cups if our cup's empty. You know what I mean? So we need that.
Can't pour from an empty cup. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. So we need that support too, and I think that's where we come in to play with each other. Because it's hard. Like this life has its hard moments as far as balancing stuff, but it also has its good moments too.
Yeah.
But like any relationship, there's hard dealing.
Yeah. It's a balance always.
You got anything else to add about support? Or did you just sit here to look pretty?
Yeah, I'm just out here to look pretty. I'm not good at public speaking, you know this.
Can I tell a story?
No!
You can go that way. So it's funny. So we went to college. Like that's how we met. Like, college. Back in 2010.
Yes, I think so.
So it's funny because we had to do like, for where we went, you have to do every class, every semester, you have to stand up and do, like that's the requirements. You have to stand up in front of the class and do a presentation. So we had to do reporting, right? Like the class was something about
It was a true
probation.
story. It was something that affected you.
Yeah. So it was probation class. So we had to do an actual, probation, like a pre-sentencing, if you will. And it's like the story. So she told us, some people choose to do, real personal experiences, right?
I didn't think it through, okay?
She told us, like, some of you guys might not want to do that because, you get emotional. Like, you think it's a good idea because firsthand, like, what happened. So I did mine on my husband, right, at the time. So I did, like, a pre-sentencing report about his family and his life and how he grew up and stuff. So she does hers on her brother. So she gets up there, dude.
Look, it makes me want to cry just sitting
I know.
there.
Don't go get tissue. Ridiculous. So she gets up there and she starts telling, like, reading it, and she's shaking. And she starts turning red and she starts crying up there.
Aww.
So bad. And I'm over there laughing, dude. Like, I'm an asshole because I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, stop crying, fools. And she's like, oh, my brother, my mom, he starts reading. And I'm like,
Aww.
she's over here in tears. She has to be on camera because she's crying. But it was the funniest. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? And she's like, I hate public speaking. And I'm like, but I felt her pain because I got up there too. And I'm reading the stuff about my husband, like the pre-sentencing report that I did on him. And I'm all reading it. And I'm like, I black out, if you will. So like that was, that's the first set of classes. So my ears are on fire. And I'm like shaking too and like reading it. Like we look like some Bambis that just try to, were born and trying to walk. Like we were ridiculous. Dude.
No, it was so bad.
But yeah, she's not good at speaking.
That's why you gotta practice more so you can get over it.
So yeah, that was the thing with it. So we did our associates first, and then we moved on to do our bachelor's. So it was a total of 4 years. But they told us that like every class, every semester, you're going to end it with presentation because you got to get used to getting up and speaking. So I used to get like that and black out. Like I would sit down and tell her like, what did I just say? Like, I don't know what I just said. And so like after like probably the first 2 years, I ain't gonna lie, then I got comfortable and started, I was able to do the mock trial and be the defense attorney. And you got to get up there. It's like a real trial. And that's what I was explaining to you. So like I'm comfortable now. And plus at work, I train. So I get up and train classes and class, you know what I mean? Class upon class upon class. So all that helps me with public speaking. But
I think more so for me now, it's like personal things. Like I'm gotten good. Like I've gotten good with talking to people, but like when it comes to like talking about stuff about me or like my personal life, then I'm just like
about somebody she loves.
Yeah.
So if she loves you or has some kind of feelings towards you, she can't do that. So I used to do that blood. So I can draw anybody's blood. I can see blood, I'm good. If it's your blood, her blood, Petunia's blood, my head's all faint. Like if I love you and I have some kind of, loyalty to you or whatever, I can't see it, dude. I'll pass out. But if like I'm on the
She's
street
so
and they're
dramatic.
bleeding, like I can help them and wrap them up and you know what I mean, do the most for them. But for my people, I can't.
She'll run and hide.
I cry there.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's funny.
Don't ever get her around Naomi.
Right?
Or don't start
Be
crying
taking
over
care of both of us.
I'll laugh at you.
Yeah. Or don't cry because she'll laugh at you.
My other friend Sal, dude. Well, we went out one night. This was a long ass time ago, and she falls on the like we were tore up from the floor up. She fell off the curb, and like I couldn't stop laughing. And she was like, "You're such a bitch! Like, why didn't you pick me up?" And I was like, I couldn't. If I had to text you, I would have fell.
That's
So I
funny.
just stood there staring at her, pointing, laughing, like, my bad.
Yeah.
Anyways, what? You got any stories for us, Petunia?
No, I told you mine.
Oh, she said I told you. Sorry, I put you and him on the spot about the whole
Oh.
support thing. Like, I think it's a hard topic to talk about sometimes because I get it. Like, there was points in our relationship when I always stayed in contact with him just because of our daughter, but it was like
You guys are
it wasn't.
friends, though.
Yeah, it wasn't the most. You know what I mean? It wasn't the most. Like he would call and I would hand the phone to my daughter right away. You know what I mean? So I get it, and I get the. You know, there's a lot of times that we're all going through stuff. You know what I mean? And you're struggling too. But I think that people don't realize that it's the bare, it's even just the bare minimum, just even a JPay. What's a JPay? Like 30 cents to send a message or a picture and say I love you or I'm thinking of you, or you know what I mean, just to let them know something, like they're still loved and cared about. And I think we all miss that, even out here. Like it's so easy to just text somebody and be like, hey, I hope you're doing good, and we opt out of doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of it has to do with like my health issues that I'm having, that I kind of like step back, you know, from communication, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I have to take care of me first before I can take care of anybody else. And I think like a lot of my, I would say a lot of the PTSD and anxiety and stuff, as far as like going to the prisons, it affects me now. You know what I mean? To where like I could relate to my mother having to do this all these years, from the time her kids were in juvenile all the way till she couldn't do it no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of difficult, you know, because like I have a lot of nephews in prison, and I can't like reach out to every single one of them. Like I'll get a call from time to time, but you know, it's like that's about it, because like my hands don't work like they used to. You know, I had 5 surgeries on my hands and still need surgery on my hand, but I kind of like put that off because I got other issues as far as
Well,
to focus
I don't
on.
think it should just fall on one person either. You know what I mean? Like I do know, I won't say names, but you know, I was told like, oh, my husband only reaches out when he wants to reach out. But it's like my husband reaches out and calls, and every time it's like, oh, my phone was off. Oh, I didn't hear my phone. Oh, the ringer is off. Like you want him to beg you. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
a person's gonna feel like shit. Like he's only gonna try so many times and then just be done, and it hurts him. And I don't think people realize that because my husband he puts on a front like you can't hurt me, but that would hurt anybody. That would hurt me. Like you keep reaching out, and then for you to have the audacity to be like, um, oh, it's you know, it's only when he wants to reach out. Like every time he reaches out, fool, you don't answer that shit. So you know what is he supposed to do at that point? And he gets that from a lot of people. His son's always saying, "Oh, tell my dad I put money on the phone." So I'll tell my husband. My husband will call it, and it literally tells him on the phone, "There's no money." So I'm like, "You just told us you put $30. Like,
For
did you
what?
put $30? You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like heartbreaking to him too. It's frustrating because it's like, you know, he'll reach out and reach out and reach out, and then they're like, oh, he doesn't reach out. But every time he has, I can name a bunch of times, and you never answered, or there wasn't money on the phone. His calls are literally $1.60. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I don't really know what the calls are, because usually like when I had phone calls like they would always pay on their end, so I never really, I don't know, like that GTO or something, like when I would put money on it, does it like after 30 days they keep your money or what?
No, it's after a certain amount of time. Did you need to step away, Alicia?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be with my family. I just came down to visit, so
All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Have a good visit with your family.
Enjoy. It was good seeing you.
guys have a good
Hi.
night.
Get some rest, Alicia.
Okay. Yeah, I just see everybody sees things from their own point of view and they don't see it from other people's. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
I see it from my husband's point of view because we talk about it.
Well,
And
it goes both ways. You know what I mean? Like there's JPay. They can always get on JPay. It's like,
Yeah.
you
And the
know.
thing with that is like I hear a lot of the excuses like, oh, we don't know how to do the video visits, but yet your significant other is visiting her family on video visits, but you don't know how to set it up to do it for your dad. You know what I mean? I'm just
Yeah.
saying an example. Or your brother, you don't know how to do it for your brother or your sister or your uncle. You know what I mean? Like anybody. Like
Vice
that's
versa. Vice versa. If the tables were turned and it was them on that side of the fence, they would learn how to use that real quick. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So
And that's
there's
what
really,
I think
I'm
sometimes
not like computer savvy or anything, you know, but it doesn't take much but a click. Touch this, touch that. Just like you
yeah,
log into Facebook, you log into JPay the same way. You know what I mean?
yeah. And
If
I
you could
think
do
that's the
social
part
media,
that
if you could do social media, there's nothing hard about that. Just like me, there's no excuse for me like not getting on that application. It's just like I said, health issues sometimes like kind of get me down and put me down for a while. So
and I get that part because when I went through the whole cancer stuff and had surgery, like afterwards, I went into a bad depression. Like I had to get on medication and everything for it. So I get all that part, but it's like I don't know. I see it from his point of view, and I've been there on the other part of it too when I was MIA for a while and stuff, and you know, barely there. I was there, but I was barely there. You know what I mean?
yeah, and then they ask like, why doesn't he call? You know, well, why should he? If you're gonna go stand in line, you're actually standing in line. It could be 15 minutes, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 30 minutes. You're standing in line to make that call, and they don't pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Like, so now you have to let somebody use the phone to stand in line again to make another call. You're lucky to just go up to the phone and use it, but sometimes it don't work like that. You have to stand in line.
Yeah. And so the other facility that he was at, it was like that. So like
Yeah.
sometimes I would get back-to-back calls. The way he calls me now, I would get back-to-back calls, but a lot of times or during certain times of the day, it's not like that because everybody's trying to call their people. There's 3 phones in there for like 60, 70 dudes.
Yeah, and then you only have so much time to be on the yard. So you're taking that time away from them when they could be utilizing that time to do something else or make a call to someone else that's going to answer. I get that. You know what I mean? But people on this side, they're so caught up, like, come on now, show a little bit of compassion.
Yeah. And I don't think everybody realized that as far as my husband goes, because he appreciates it. Like, I don't know if you got to hear our interview with Jen and the way he talks about it. You know what I mean? Like how he feels when he gets those visits from myself and our daughter. You know what I mean? Like the way he hugs us and smells us. Like at first it was weird to me because I'm like, dude, why are you sniffing me like that? Like, why are you smelling like, do I stink? Like, what's going on?
I know you feel like you damn Hannibal Lecter, huh?
Yeah, I'm all, am I good? Like, I know I took a shower before I got here. You know what I mean? But he's like, no, I just, it was so long in between time. And he still does that now. But he's like,
I know.
on to that until I see you next week.
That's what it reminds me of when Hannibal Lecter had his visit with Clarice.
Clarice?
Remember?
Yeah.
He's like over there smelling. He's like,
He doesn't he doesn't do it like that. Like he'll because he's so tall. Like he's so tall.
I
So
know.
when he hugs me, like I disappear and his face is like right here. So he just has to lean forward a little bit and he's at the top of my head. So then he smells my hair and everything. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, do I smell funny? And he's like, no, I just want to smell. He does that with our daughter too. Like at first, our daughter was like, you know what I mean? Like she's awkward anyways. But you know, it's kind of a little awkward. But like now she's just like, that's my dad. Like she understands why her dad does that.
He's
to
like,
her.
I need to smell my cub.
Yeah. That's what reminds me of a bear with their cub.
And it's different than the smell in there. You know what I mean? It's like a musty smell in there because it's just, I don't know.
My husband always smells good. But yeah, I get it. Because
Yeah.
I get that. It's not, I don't know. It's just a weird smell because it's still like when he sends me stuff, like you can smell it on the envelopes and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people don't realize that and how far the support goes for them there. I mean, I'm glad he's made friends where, you know, he feels supported somewhat that
Yeah.
way. But, you know, he does lack the family part, which is sad, which, you know, I wish I can change that for him or, you know, make it easier for everybody to come out here. You know, I've offered everybody to come and stay here so they don't have to worry about hotels or, you know what I mean? At least that's an extra burden. And I can drive. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
I even offered to go pick up our granddaughter and keep her for a couple weeks and then take her back just so he can at least see her, you know what I mean, and hold her.
Right.
But that just didn't work out. You know, I all I can do, like I said, like you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. So I can't force anybody. But it is sad. I wish that he had more of a support inside of his family, outside of just myself and our daughter.
Right.
Like a lot of guys are like that, like he was saying.
You can hear it in his voice when he talks about you guys too. It's just like I can picture his face, just, you know, the sparkle in his eye. You know what I mean? When, you know, he
I
speaks
wish.
about you guys. Yeah.
Hopefully one day you can come down here and go visit him and see the way he lights up with his daughter.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you, for his birthday, he was so sick. Like he was flushed. His face was white. And my honey's like a pretty brown all the time. But he was like white. And he was like, I woke up sick because he was having migraines. And I didn't tell him our daughter was there. And as soon as he walked out or was, you know, he can see us from the glass where he's getting patted down. And he's seen her. And like his color came back in his face. Like his whole face lights up. And I get jealous sometimes because I'm like, obviously he's right. I probably don't notice how he lights up when he sees me too. But with our daughter, it's a whole different happiness. You know what I mean? And it trips me out because it makes me happy to see him like that. But I've never seen somebody get so happy before in my life.
Yeah.
And it's cute, but it's sad at the same time. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm always with this. But yeah, hopefully one day you can come and see that for yourself and see how him and her are together and like their mannerisms and the way they act. It's trippy.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely trippy. She sits there, like we'll sit there and she'll go get snacks and he's sitting there looking at her and he'll start telling me like, I can't believe how much of me is in her, how much she looks like me, how much she acts like me, how much, you know what I mean? Like the mannerisms and stuff are. Like he just sits back and I listen to him talk. It's crazy.
And that's how I see like my brother, you know, in his kids, you know,
Yeah.
like it's crazy. Like the same models, you know, it's like their movement, their stance, their sometimes the way they talk. One time having a conversation with Tino, like I got teary-eyed. I actually told him, you know what, I gotta go outside. And he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, oh my God, like having a conversation with you right now is like sitting here talking to my brother, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, that got to be sad because you don't. Yeah, he gets sad about his dad too. Like we talked about all of that.
Yeah, I kind of see my brother and all of them, you know? So,
Mhm. All right. Well, I guess we'll say goodnight. For now, we'll pick up again next week. I think I don't know. We'll find out what's going on with Baby Porky. Maybe not
okay.
next week. So maybe we could continue with support in a different capacity next week. You know what I mean? Maybe we could
Yeah,
talk about like what else we can do to show them support in there. You know what I mean? Or what others have done um, as far as supporting theirs. You know, not just financially, but you know, me and Avalise talked about that for birthdays. Like what different things we can come up with and support for the families out here and for the kids that are affected.
right. Right.
So yeah. So we're gonna say goodnight, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Hopefully, you can join us again next Saturday. Leave your comments, questions here, or you know, we did start a Facebook, Married Lifers, and Instagram. So wherever you want to reach out to. But we appreciate you guys for being on with us and talking to us. Thank you for coming on, Rachel. Thank you for coming on, Victoria. Even though you cried in the corner. All right.
Thank you for having me. You guys have a good night.
You too.
I always gotta fight with this to end it, dude. It's ridiculous. Oh my god. You see what I gotta deal with? Good night, everybody. We're gonna see this every week.
Struggle.
It's so why isn't it? Oh, you mother lover. Good night. Maybe. Why isn't it letting me do it?